The destruction of a child. Now, I know, we all do like the celebrity news and celebrity updates and all that's cool. That's part of the hustle, bro, and it's fun to do and it's cool or whatever. But every now and then we gotta have some real rap. Destruction of a child. Sometimes you gotta put the candy in the medicine. That's what it is. So let me start by saying I want to get this off without offending anybody. That's not my intention. But some things got to be spoken. Some things we got to speak on, man. Destruction of a child. And what I mean by that is when you and when you co-parent and the two of y'all are not on the same page, the method of raising your child, the morals and principles and everything that you try to instill in your child during the raising process, right? So you have certain things, just the moral qualities and the basic foundation, the fundamentals, man, that you want to instill to your child as a small child. And as they get older, you teach them more and more, and you building. You basically, it's like playing Legos, man. You're building the character. Now, you get to a point where the child starts making their own decisions and learning things outside of what you're teaching them, right? The flip side of that is if you are co-parenting with somebody that's kind of the polar opposite of you and what you're trying to do. This is what I mean by the destruction of a child, man, because everybody has the idea of what they want, how they want their child to grow up and be and handle themselves as an adult, right? And you can do your best. You can't make anybody do anything. I am learning this as we speak. But what you can do is do the best you can to teach them right and wrong. Even right and wrong is is perspective, right? So the best thing you can do, like I think kind of the mistake I made is I made my idea of what I wanted my kids to grow into and do and the moves they make as an adult. I guess in my mind, I made it the end all be all. Like I just knew this shit was gonna happen, right? Okay, now they might have their own ideas that differs from yours, and then the co-parent, the other parent, might have their own idea, and none of it coagulates with what you think, which is why communication is important. But communication, that shit can be overrated, especially when the honesty ain't particularly there, right? So you have to co-parent at least to where both sides of the fence make sense, right? Like you're learning from your mom, you're learning from your dad. Of course, they're not the same people, but the qualities have to coincide. Like the qualities have to coincide a little bit, a little bit. You at least have to be on the same page. Like, look, we're raising this child together. We at least want to instill this in them and guide them in this direction somewhat until they can make their own decisions and, make decisions for themselves. But when you have one parent doing one thing, you have another parent kind of doing the opposite, you're negating each other at this point, right? And it's frustrating. I'm trying not to go into my personal shit too much because, like I said, I don't want to offend nobody. But I just want to have this conversation with y'all because this is going on everywhere. Now, if your child is blessed enough to have both parents, which is a blessing, I never had both of mine. So I strictly went off what was being taught to me by my mother. Now, I think if you have both your parents in your life and they both mean good for you and they both have your best interest at heart, you should draw from both. Now, that's just not necessarily saying that you have to agree with everything either one of them says, but you can pull from both. Like, that's a blessing to have. But the parents, y'all can't be at odds, man, and you basically playing tug of war with the child. Destruction of a child. That's the name of this. That's why I keep saying it, because that's ultimately what it ends up being. Now, you get to a point, you've done the best you can, your child is now an adult. Maybe fresh out of high school, maybe at that threshold to where their own decision making comes into play. Now, all these things that you've thought for all these years, all right, I feel like I've done a good job. I feel like I've geared them up for adulthood and the right steps to take into adulthood. But all these things that you think you got set up in your mind for on all these doors that you in your mind you have for them to walk through, they don't even walk up to the door. Now, understand, there has to be a level of understanding. Okay, you may not want what I wanted for you, but if that child starts going downhill and kind of not meeting any of the thresholds or meeting any kind of expectations that you may have had, you start to question yourself, like, damn, did I miss something, or did I do a good enough job? And me personally, I've come to this conclusion. I can't want more for you than you want for yourself. Or, maybe you chose a different path, but things are looking counterproductive, and you're missing out on a lot by not making the greatest decisions. Like, you could be on a whole nother level than where you at right now, which is frustrating, like, because this is what I wanted for you. And I don't know, it's touchy, man. But I say that to say, co-parent, man. The parents don't have to be friends. Y'all don't have to be lovers. Y'all at least be cordial for the sake of the child, bro. Or it's the destruction of a child, man. And you always want for your kids to do bigger and better things. You should always want that. Like, if you grew up raising your child punching a clock, no college education, or you should want better. Like, my main thing, I want my kids to go to college. I'm not the biggest college fan, but not even necessarily the college education, but there are perks to college, like the networking and the people you come across, and that, like, if you have that platform to springboard off of after college, that is a huge plus. Anyway, I just wanted to get that off, man. Just stop making it about yourselves, like who's right and who's wrong, because that could be a thing. Like the tug of war thing, it is counterproductive. Keep the interest of the child at heart, and you build them until they're ready to step out on their own, man.